we are back with Bev Beveridge, owner of the Jersey Shore Public Relations Agency, and Ed Johnson, Mayor Emeritus of Asbury Park. Matt Hawkinjose is the Executive Director of the Asbury Park Music Foundation. Now, you definitely checked out all the clubs there.
We did.
One in particular. Tell me about that.
The Valdez Jazz Club. We spent many a night there.
Absolutely. We actually met them at a performance and went backstage to introduce ourselves, and we ended the night with them sending us by private car back to the Jazz Club. We met the owner. The very next day, he cooked us a brunch himself. With his family. We had an opportunity to spend time with him and at this fantastic jazz club, which was his home. It was really an exciting experience.
Wow, there was a band that you were enamored with.
Yeah, it was them. It was Valdez's band. They were named Bamboleo, and they were kind of the pioneers of timba music. And one of the things that really stood out was their uniqueness. There's really not any other music like that in the United States, and I think another thing that was really important to them was the bloodlines. They were relatives of Chucho Valdez, who was the godfather of Cuban jazz piano.
Tell us what we're looking at.
This is a video from one of the restaurants that we were at that night. There was music everywhere, as you can see.
And that's our hotel.
That was actually
right, the stilettos.
Everywhere you went, there was just
music everywhere.
It sounds like New Orleans.
It was
much
good.
more lively. I mean, you could definitely tell the difference with the culture and the enthusiasm. It was just much. There was a huge difference. It was just a wonderful.
Just a lively spirit, and it almost felt too like I have a Cuban uncle by marriage, so I've always been intrigued with the Cuban culture, and I grew up with the food and all that, and the culture. He was a musician, boat builder by trade, musician, and all of the places we went there, the people were so kind. It almost felt like we were their long lost relatives, and we finally come home. And so the food, I mean, when they cooked for us that day, we were welcomed into their home by the family. So, I mean, to only meet them 2 prior times and just to be welcomed like that. And I was speaking to his wife and his the little boy, and I mean, we just had such a good time playing.
And wherever you went, whether you're shopping,
tell us about that.
Whether you're shopping or whether you're in a restaurant or whether you're out on the street, you were just welcomed by friendly people who were happy to see you. And when they found out you were American, it was even more so. So the people-to-people exchange was really, it was much more than I could ever imagine. You have some, you sort of dream about what it's going to be, but it exceeded all of our dreams and all of our expectations. It's really fantastic.
And even when we were there, we couldn't believe that we were there. We're at the Hotel Nacional, and I'll never forget that moment. And I said, let's take a group picture, and I'm always a pain when it comes to taking pictures. I called everybody over, let's get one. And we just stood there, and the Malecón is right in back of us, or at the Hotel Nacional, and just to look at the sea in front of us, because it was a different perspective, because we could only see it from the other side. Now we were inside looking out versus outside looking in. And I just remember I got one of those moments, all teary-eyed and all, and I looked at Ed and I was like, we're here, we're really here. Because I think until, even when our plane didn't show up after 11 hours, we weren't sure if we were really going to be, we had a backup plan.
Yes. The plane's here.
It was almost a trip to Miami.
We had a backup plan for Key West. Key West was, Miami, Key West, it was so funny. So we just, until we actually got there, I think it took a few days to actually sink in that we actually made it.
So, Matt, you have a lot to share with your students then.
Yeah, absolutely. That was part of the experience, was scouting music and learning something from their music culture and bringing it back for our students. We do a lot of programming for the students of Asbury Park and neighboring communities, underserved communities, and the center is really music. Music is really the inspiration, and you can get the greater sense of that in Cuba, because it's so important to their culture. Like I said, it's almost like a universal language.
Yes, it is.
And so we plan on using that energy and power to make our programs, improve our programs.
That's a great way to wrap this segment. Bev, Ed, Matt, thank you for sharing your experience there in Cuba. We really appreciate that. Next, we'll talk with 2 musicians who performed there in Cuba.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dad.